All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Deborah Halimi, and I am a video specialist here at Social Native. And today we're going to go through a little bit about video editing and a few of the details on campaigns that we have now that feature video editing kind of skills and what you need and how to move forward with these campaigns. So you're here because you've either participated in similar campaigns in the MobileWorks program, or you're looking to break into kind of a new skill set and a new type of campaign with us here at Social Native. So I did want to give a little bit of a disclaimer before we start this webinar and just say that these campaigns that we'll be discussing here are intended for experienced video editors. So while we'd love to have all levels of editors participate and specifically participate in this webinar because, of course, education is everything, I just want to note that the webinar does not guarantee you a spot in any upcoming campaigns. So with that said, I think we can get started here. So let's just look at, kind of an overview of the agenda of what we'll be looking at this morning. So first we'll just go into a little bit of what the MobileWorks program is. So the MobileWorks is kind of the overarching kind of theme we have here with this webinar that we'll be focusing on. So we'll talk about a little bit of what that is, how to complete a MobileWorks project, so looking at the tools you'll get to complete a project, and then from there, how to do them. And then focus a little bit more on to some creative considerations and best practices for these campaigns. And of course, while we go through all of these points, feel free to ask any questions in that little text box on the side of your screen. We'll be addressing any questions at the end of the webinar. So what is MobileWorks? So as you've probably seen, there's some great video ads out there in the social space these days, and we're helping to really help clients be part of that world, taking their assets that they have, their existing brand assets, and turning them into mobile-optimized video ads. So what that means is using motion graphics and video editing to transform these traditional static images or traditional forms of videos and really turning them into videos that are perfectly made to be viewed on mobile. So let's watch a little video that we put together about the MobileWorks program.
Well, I have a wonderful electronic invention I want you to see. It looks lovely.
All right, awesome. So moving on, as you've seen in that short little video there, a lot of what we're working with here is taking images and turning them into videos for then brands to use in their ads on Facebook and Instagram. So to reiterate here, we are not talking about filming new videos and making completely new videos here. Everything that you'll be working with within these campaigns is taking assets, images, videos that already exist and then just kind of enhancing them and using motion graphics and video editing to turn them into video. So studies have shown that, in these advertisements, using video helps capture the attention of the user and really performs better, which is why we're here to help and make that happen for brands. So in these, we'll use some text overlays, layering different assets and static images to help bring these assets to life. So let's just take a look at a few more examples here just to give a better idea of what we're looking at with these.
Okay, now, from the beginning.
Cool. So from here, now that we have a little bit of an overview of, kind of what we're working with here, we wanted to just talk about, what you're going to get, what you're going to make, and just some more of the specifics on the tools that you'll be provided with and how to then use them to move forward to create these projects. So with a standard campaign, we can be working with anywhere creating from 1 to 3, potentially 4 or 5 videos in any certain project we have here. So with these videos, it's going to be typically around a 10 to 15 second video here. So really short, short and sweet videos with a simple message here that we're taking all these assets and turning them into live motion videos to be used in ads. So I wanted to just go through some of the tools that you're going to get to create these videos. First and foremost, of course, you'll be getting the assets from the brand, which could come in the form of images or animations, videos, longer form videos that we're cutting down. Usually you'll get a folder that'll be filled with these assets to play around with. And then above that, of course, we want to make this as easy for you as possible. We know that maybe you're familiar with the brand, maybe you're not, but we want to give you all the information possible to make sure that you're able to really, go hard and make sure you get these videos right. So from there, we'll be providing you with a few things. First would be a brand style guide, which that would include anything from colors that the brand typically likes to stick with, as well as fonts and artwork and things like that to help guide your creativity there to make sure that everything is on brand, and because staying on brand is extremely important here. And then from there, we'd also include some high-resolution logo files, of course, to keep those in the video. And finally, as we'll discuss later in this webinar, it's very important that we include text overlays on this. So of course, we'll be providing you with that. We're not expecting you to come up with text overlays and copy for these videos. We'll provide you with the exact copy to be input on these videos. So it's really just a matter of taking the tools you have at hand and combining them with the assets to bring these videos to life with all the guidance that we've provided you. So a little bit into aspect ratios here. So with every video that you're getting, with every project, you'll be instructed on a different aspect ratio to use for that video. Of course, we know here that we're going to be working with mobile optimized videos. And as you see, we have a few of the aspect ratios that you typically see when you're interacting on your mobile device. Anything from a 16 by 9 to a 9 by 16. What we have found here is the most common ones that we'll be working with are a 4 by 5 and a 9 by 16 aspect ratio. The reason being is these are the best that will be optimized for the specific placement that they're in, and they take up the most amount of real estate possible. So, of course, looking at the 4 by 5 versus a 16 by 9, both would very commonly be shown on maybe your Instagram or your Facebook feed, but you're more likely to interact with that 4 by 5 because it takes up more of that screen. It really grabs your attention more than that small little aspect ratio there. So this is just a little, kind of overview to show you what you'll be working with and show you that these are likely the two aspect ratios that you'll be getting familiar with throughout this. So moving forward, we want to just talk about some of the best practices we have here in the creative considerations with creating these videos. So the big thing here that we want to get across is, as we know, people are scrolling through their feeds on their phone at a super fast rate. And we want to create these videos to stop that endless scroll. So really getting these users to see this video and be like, and stop and look at it and engage with the video. So I think that's a great way to help kind of guide your way of thinking when completing these projects is, if you were to see this on your feed, would you stop? Would you look at it? So in part of this presentation and as we go through, we're going to be looking through a few examples that really showcase these best practices. But just as a little overview, chat a little bit about them now. So the first two here are really focused on bringing the brand and bringing the main message up to the front of the video. So again, people are scrolling through quickly. We want to make sure that we grab their attention within that first 0 to 3 seconds and make sure that that brand is known right at the beginning and that the message is right there. Beyond that, as I'm sure everyone here can attest to, we all now interact with our phones and scroll through our feeds and whatever it may be, usually with sound off. 90% of the time you will be interacting with your phone on mute, which is why we want to make sure that these videos are designed for that, are designed for the standard user who will be scrolling through their phone. Let's say they're in public or they're at work or they're with their family and they don't have their sound on. We want to make sure that all of these videos make sense and are easily understandable without the sound off. And then, of course, adding that extra delight once you turn that sound on. And finally, which we'll go through a few examples later, is rethinking creativity. We're here to get outside the box, to get the user to really get excited about these videos. So and we'll go through a few examples of this, but anything we can do to differentiate these videos from the content that people are seeing every day. So let's talk a little bit about the difference between the timeline structure in traditional videos versus mobile videos. So traditional videos, and specifically ads that you'll see on television, let's say, have an ascendant storytelling arc, which basically means that we kind of build up to the main message at the end of the video. So let's say you're sitting, and we've all, I'm sure, seen this, you're sitting and you're watching TV, and you kind of wait until the last few seconds to figure out what this ad is trying to tell you. But you're watching TV, so you sit and you watch and you wait through it. As we all know, this doesn't work in mobile because people have a shorter and shorter attention span as they scroll through. So we want to stop them and get that main message right at the beginning. So really bringing that main message and bringing the messaging up right to the front. So even if, by the end of this 15-second video we're creating, maybe they're scrolling on to the next thing on their feed, we have that message to them right at the beginning. So people interact with videos differently, so we need to make them differently to accommodate for that. So we're going to look through a few examples of Red Bull here of how these videos were optimized for mobile. So this is the original spot. You can see there's no sound added to it. There's no text overlay. It's very simple, targeted towards television ads. As we go through, most of us, let's see how far we're into this, about 30 seconds, would likely have, paused it, gone on to the next one. Now again, we'll look through this one.
The unlimited life. you say yourself? Wonder going beyond. The lines were rolling across. Meanwhile, we're both in the push ourselves. Simply to inspire the world.
So in that one that we watched, they've added some text overlay, we've added some sound in there to create a sense of delight when you turn on the sound, and the branding is right at the front. So it's definitely better. We're getting there, but we're not quite there. And now we're going to review this last one, which really takes that next step to bring this into the optimized for mobile. Yeah, branding.
The unlimited life.
Text.
The moment you say yourself. Wonder going beyond. The lines were rolling across. Meanwhile, we're both in the push ourselves. Simply to inspire the world.
So before we go, oh my goodness. So before we take a look at this, let's just review on that last slide. So the biggest thing that we noticed here in the difference there was the difference in the aspect ratio. So on that third video, we moved into that 4:5 aspect ratio, added a few things, but the real big difference was the aspect ratio. And that really helps to bring it into the mobile space and really, shows that this is where, the trends are going. We need to have a 4:5 video with the text overlay and the branding right at the beginning to really showcase those best practices. Let's look at a few more examples that show how to capture attention. So here's a few different ways of showing this theme of capturing attention and really staying within these best practices. So a few different things here. Firstly being starting with a captivating action. Again, we've said this, a few times now. We're really trying to get the user and the viewer to engage and to get excited and captivated by this video in the first 0 to 3 seconds. Beyond that, we're going to use copy to engage the viewer, as well as showing the brand early, getting that messaging across, and finally making sure that the subject matter is front and center. There should be no question about what we're talking about and what the point of the video is. Let's take a look at these. Great action there. So this video really uses text to its advantage to get the message across. And right there, Japan Airlines was in the first, half a second there. Finally, in this one, there's really, I don't think any doubt in anyone's mind that this is a Jameson video. We're really bringing that subject front and center here. So we're going to look at a few more examples to show different ways of experimenting with these videos to capture the attention of the viewer and really engage them with the videos. So we're going to look at playing with rhythm, manipulating the speed of the video, changing the duration, and playing with sound. Oh. Should start any second. There we go. So as we see here, all of these videos use very innovative ways to engage the viewer and make sure that the subject matter is front and center. There's no question about what the video is about, and that messaging is super clear throughout the whole video. So now that we've looked at a few examples on kind of general best practices and how to make these videos great, we want to talk a little bit about stories. So I know me personally, and I'm sure plenty of you listening in right now, mostly engage on your social media accounts through stories, through Instagram and Facebook stories. So we really want to make a push to make those story ads the best they possibly can be and work to optimize them to fit perfectly within that placement. So there's a couple of things that are specific to stories that we just wanted to go over and make sure we're all clear on the specific best practices that are meant specifically for stories. And again, these are the same 10 to 15 second videos, except with a different aspect ratio and a few different considerations for these placements. So the first thing that we're going to do when creating a story video, a 9:16 story video, is that we're going to include all of the text within the 4:5 frame, so that center part of the video. The reason for this is that when we insert this video into the actual placement, whether it be Instagram or Facebook or any other placement, there's typically some text that's native to the app. So whether that be a progress bar at the bottom or the profile picture and account information that's at the top of the screen. So the last thing we want to do is, how do you put in all this work to create this video and then all the text gets covered by the native text that's in the app, which is why we want to keep all the text in the middle. And secondly, we want to have, draw some attention to that great swipe up feature. That's a really awesome part about stories is we're able to get that user and the viewer to swipe up directly to wherever we want to send them. So why not grab their attention a little bit extra and show them exactly where they can go? Let's look at a little example of this. So yeah, as we saw, there's a swipe up here right at the end, as well as all of the text is kept towards the center of the screen to avoid being covered by any of the native text that would be in the app. And then beyond that, just on stories, I think a really great way to use stories and to kind of work with that excitement and the unique nature of this is working with different crops and aspects and different crops and ratios, to make these super exciting and to get across the best message possible. So as you can see in this little example on the left side of the screen, so the left side is going to be the traditional video, which, this is a 16 by 9 versus a 9 by 16 stories. So the biggest thing we can see here is that there's actually 2 frames in one video, which is a great way to use stories and really a unique way to be able to deliver 30 seconds of content in a 15-second video. So when you think about it, you have a short amount of time. What's the best way to get the most across to the viewer? And this is an awesome way to do so. So let's look at the little short video, but let's take a look. There's the original. And that second video really took the original to the next level, bringing that extra set of assets in there and getting that message across in a new and exciting way. So that's it from the information that we wanted to give you guys on how to do MobileWorks and the different tools and things you're going to be given to move forward with these projects. So I kind of wanted to turn it over to you guys and see if there are any other questions that you may have for us. I know some people did write in throughout the webinar, so we'll be able to let's look through those right now and see what we got. So it looks like the first one we have here says, which editing softwares do you recommend? That's a great question. So there's a couple different routes you can go here. First being if you want to use a free software. If you're going to use a free software, there's a few that we'd recommend, which would be Lightworks, Shotcut, and iMovie are great free tools for video editing. But if you guys want to make the investment, which I highly recommend, to a paid editing software, the best that we've found and we would recommend would be Adobe After Effects and Final Cut Pro. Let's look, see what else we have. So is this just for Facebook? So while we're working with Facebook on the MobileWorks program, and of course Facebook owns Instagram, so these are specifically for Facebook and Instagram, and that's not the end of it at all. So this webinar was targeted towards the best practices of Facebook and Instagram, although these learnings can be applied to any other platform. And of course, we have campaigns that will be working with different platforms. So as we get those in and we send you campaigns, that'll be optimized for different platforms, we'll definitely be sending you some best practices there just to make sure we're all on the same page and you can move forward with the best foot forward. Let's see. So how do we get started or get these campaigns? So all of these campaigns will be put through the social native platform. So you'll get an invitation just like any other campaign that you're working on with us. Of course, I'm here to help, so any additional information will be communicated from me, Deborah, and I'll send that over to you just so we have that. And of course, I'm a resource here for you with any questions you may have once we're moving forward. So another one we have here is, can you expand on the brand style guide? Yeah, of course. So the brand style guide is basically a document that brands put together when creating any marketing tools. And sometimes it might be a page long, sometimes it's 20 pages long, of all the details you need to create any sort of marketing assets for them. So it's really just your guide to help you create these and really make sure that you're staying on brand here. So I think that was actually our last question. It doesn't look like we have any more here. But, of course, you guys all have my email, and I'm available for questions at any time. So feel free to shoot me an email with any questions you may have. And, of course, I'm more than happy to hop on a call and discuss any of these further with any of you guys because we're super excited to get you started on this. And we'll be in touch very soon about getting you some new projects and getting you started on the MobileWorks program. So thank you all, and we'll talk to you soon.